Hey, this is Brian Moody with Remnant Finance. And if you really want to learn how to level up your life, you should be listening to the Time to Shine Today podcast with my good friend Scott Ferguson. Let's level up.
Hey, Time to Shine Today podcast varsity squad. It's Scott Ferguson, and I just got done interviewing Brian Moody from Remnant Finance. And don't let finance throw you off like this is going to be boring and all that jazz. All I can say is that Brian's a veteran, he's a pilot, and he has quite a cool story about being in the military, but also what he does to build legacies, not only for his family, but also for you and others to be able to be financially secure, also secure with your kind of love, your family, community, work, everything. He's just super harmonious. We had just a fun conversation. We might have been a little bit longer than the 30 minutes that you only put out, but he's well worth it. So I'm going to shut up and kind of look over my notes again because I have like 3 pages of them. So if you like it, please hit like. If you know somebody that needs to hear it, please share it with them. Or if you'd like to smash the subscribe button, that'd be awesome as well. So without further ado, from Remnant Finance, here comes my really good friend and fellow veteran, Brian Moody. Let's level up. I'm the Shine Today Podcast Varsity Squad. This is Scott Ferguson, and I got me an awesome sauce veteran, somebody that's a Christian brother, somebody that is all about the remnant, that small percent, the standout, the people that actually get out there, get after it, and they do it for the intention and not the attention. And I'm talking about my really good friend here, Brian Moody. Again, he's a Christian, a husband, and a father of 4. He's an authorized IBC practitioner. He helps people exit the financial passenger seat and boldly command their enriching their family, and leaving a generational legacy. Brian is also, a 22-year veteran of the Air National Guard, where he serves as a KC-135 instructor and evaluator pilot. And Brian, thank you so much for coming on. Please introduce yourself to the Time to Shine Today podcast varsity squad. But first, what's your favorite color and why?
You'll probably be surprised, but it's blue and it's a light blue, sky blue, just like I'm wearing.
Nice. Hey, you should get up there, brother. Now, the KC-135, it's a bigger aircraft, right? If I'm
Yeah,
not
that's a
mistaken.
refueling aircraft. It's a variation of
Wow.
the 707. So it's like it's close and comparable to the 737, which is what most people would
Hmm?
know now.
Yeah. Yeah, I just remember watching that. I got to go through, I flew in a S3 off the USS Kitty. It was a submarine hunter, but it was with what we did, we had to go up and off and plus we got launched off the carrier, blah, blah, blah. But there was an actual refueling happening in the distance that we
Yeah.
could actually see. And that was the coolest thing, man. The whole nozzle and trying to line that up, man. You guys are just ballers, man. But seriously, thanks for your service. And also thanks for coming on, Brian, man. And I'd love kind of to get to the roots of kind of how you kind of started. Obviously, you had the military, you got the background, you got the structure, but how you kind of moved in to the Remnant Finance.
Scott, it kind of begins when my daughter Cora was 2 years old. I took her to visit my dad in the hospital for what was going to be the final time. He was terminal, and I let her down, and he had a really painful cancer, and it was all through his body. So he's sitting on the bed, and he lights up like a Christmas tree. And she jumps up on his lap, and I'm standing here just like I'm getting right now, a little misty eyed. And man, it shook my world because I realized in that moment, not so much just to see the joy he had in her, but I realized that everything I'd heard and learned about my grandfather was wrong and the destruction he did in our family by being emotionally abusive. And you see, whenever I was a little boy, he had a disease, and I could never figure out why he was so mean to all of us. And I would ask, and my family would say things like, they'd be like, oh, well, he's in a lot of pain. So my entire life, I had this paradigm of when a man is in pain, they're mean,
Mm.
right? And that was the first time. So here I am, 31 years old, and I see my dad light up, and I went, wait a second, that's love. He's in pain. And so it shook me. And so for the next couple years, I started investigating this because who we're talking about is actually my mom's father. So that generational legacy came down on her side.
Sure.
And it made me realize relationships I had with her. She has since passed as well. Relationships that with my aunts and uncles and all the people on that side. And you realized this trauma came. So I decided it was time to plant a tree of a new generational legacy because my first daughter was only 2. My second one was 4 weeks old, I think, when my dad, 6 weeks old when my dad died. So I said, it all changes here. Like I had to first recognize it. And boom, I'm going to plant a new tree that's going to kind of erase this generational trauma and start over. And we're going to do it different. And I have to, and that means that there's a lot of self-reflection. I have to figure out how that affected me and how to not pass it on. Well, time goes on a few years and this becomes a theme in my life, like generational change, but I don't really know what to do or how to do it other than I'm going to try to be a lot closer and a lot more loving than my family may have been prior to that. And I come across this book, Infinite Banking Concept, and I realized this is the financial side to the generational legacy. So not only can I leave them a legacy of love, but now I can leave them a legacy of wealth. And we can kind of start to build everything. So I'm going to leave the legacy of faith. Well, that's my goal. The legacy of love, the legacy of wealth, the legacy of a healthy lifestyle. And it all started coming together when I finally found the financial piece and how to do it. And then I realized like I can enrich my own life doing this and we live way better. And it's changed the way I think about everything.
Love it. It's what I'm hearing is that, because I'm a big believer that balance is zero, right? You have 10 pounds on one side, 10 pounds on the other, and it's just zeros everything out. So I'm hearing a lot of harmony. And what I mean by that is like, I love jazz. And I'll go to, Susan and I will go to jazz clubs and my fiance, and we'll like watch musicians. And like, so I picture like spiritual or God is your drums, personal growth is your horns. You got work, community, family, living environment, health, and recreation. They're all different instruments. If one of them's out of tune, one of them, there's no harmony. But you don't have to be Bach or Beethoven or John Bonham or Eddie Van Halen or anything to bring them back in. They just seem to be tweaked. Is that what I'm kind of hearing? You're really finding harmony within people's lives?
Oh, absolutely. And even it's sometimes some of those can be quieted, right? Sometimes they set down their instrument, stop playing one side of that jazz band. So I'm with you on that on the balance. It's not all in all the time.
Yeah.
There's going to be waves. Things are going to get louder. Things are going to get softer. Things are going to come in when they need to come in and retract when they need to retract. And yeah, so it's all about that harmony. Absolutely.
Love it. So how are you structuring? Are you structuring kind of like a lot of one-on-one? Because I know you're kind of doing the work now, but you're in kind of a transitional time, which I'll add to the podcast when this drops. But are you working with people more one-on-one? Or are you handling groups, companies, or what is Remnant going to be?
We more work with people one-on-one. So sometimes it's groups, but it always comes down to an individual basis. And I sit with that person and we focus on basically what you said, but we stick with the 5 F's: the faith, family, finance, fitness, and friendship, which are relationship and community. And we kind of figure out where they are. And what we found is that many people are missing a saving strategy. And without that financial piece, that is what makes all the other things possible. Because if that stress is in the financial piece, you can't thrive in the other 4 areas or 5 areas or however you even want to define that for yourself. So we sit down and really find out individually where you are, what you need to do, what your goals are, and what the goals really are. Not just like, I want to save $1 million. Like, what's the real goal?
Right.
Why?
What's your why on there, right?
What's your why? That's right.
Love it, man. What's your why behind setting up Remnant?
Man, it's really just what I've almost described so far. I just want to have the generational change. I want to see, I want the great grandchildren that I'll never meet to be born into a system that is already existing and that they know exactly where they're coming from. So I'm in the process of writing the Moody family constitution. And I want this to be like a living document that gets passed through our trusts.
I love it.
It's just like, all right, so when this kid's 15 years old and his mind's starting to change and mature a little bit to read that, he can say, this is who we are.
Yeah.
And that's already working as a child, but like now they can start to deeply understand it. When they're adults, it's like, this is what it means to be a Moody of this branch of the tree.
That's amazing, man. Yeah. And one, they're going to have good character. One, they're going to know how to treat people. One, they're going to know how to have fun. They're going to make some bank, dude. There's nothing wrong with making a little bank, dude.
Not at all.
So let's say you're one-on-one with somebody and they kind of come on and you're kind of sitting down maybe in a discovery period, Brian. Is there, if you don't mind sharing, kind of any secret sauce you might use to maybe help them find that initial blind spot in their finances, possibly that where the harmony is not taking place?
I think it really comes down to asking the right questions. Sure. And I can't stand here and tell you what the right questions are because those are formulated based on the discussions we have. Yeah, it really turns into a flow. But so, excuse me, but when you think about the financial side, which is where we're usually going to turn to, even though we're willing to talk about all the sides. What we find is like, if I can look at how you strategize where you put your money, most people start out and everybody says the common theme out there is start investing in your 401k. But what about protecting yourself? What about saving and investing? So there's three aspects to that. And if I can show you that, like, you don't have any level of protection, so you're building this castle with no moat,
right?
And start to show you how that can affect your life. So the discussion goes into that. And then when we build these layers of protection around that moat around your wealth, then we know we're protected and we can start living out in the other areas we need to.
I can just see you listening, man. And like you like me, our superpowers are curiosity. We really dig in, and I really see you listening, not just with your ears, but with your neck as well. You know what I'm saying? Like really leaning in and getting into their life without being judgmental, right? Or really want to put the right path together for them, man. So maybe while you're in this discovery period, Brian, is there any good question that you wish they would ask you but never do?
That's a tough question. I've thought about this a couple times, and I think sometimes I wish they would ask, honestly, what have I done? Because I show them what I do. Right. But sometimes it's about what have I changed and how has it affected my life, which can come through in the conversation. But I think that's the easiest way is I'm an open book.
Yeah.
And people want to focus on rate of return, but it's like, how has this affected my life? And when that conversation comes up, it's powerful, and it doesn't often. Yeah.
But still, I mean, I would ask that. I want to know your lineage. I kind of want to know what you did and how you grow. Yeah, absolutely, man. So
I think there's good teaching in that. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. So if I'm at a networking event, press and flesh, getting out there, meeting people, what am I hearing that would be like, make them a great prospect, referral? The Bob Bird question, man. What would make them a great prospect, referral, or even a client for you?
Yeah, well, I think one is, are you interested in keeping more of what you earn so you can earn more on what you keep?
Oh, keep more of what you earn so you can keep more.
Keep more of what you earn.
Yeah.
So you can earn more on what you keep.
I love that.
So I think a common thing to ask somebody, and if this is something they're interested in, is on the financial side of what I do is one, do you have a plan for a legacy? Do you have a plan for the wealth you're creating? Because if you don't, the government does for you. That's for sure. And are you interested in stopping that institutional theft or doing what you can to mitigate it, I should say?
Yeah.
On the other side of that, it's a question is, do you think, would you be interested in earning constant compounding interest on your money, whether it's being saved, spent, or invested elsewhere?
Love it.
That's baller, and if that's something that interests you, it's worth a discussion. Yeah.
Love it. So what do you feel your strengths are?
I think my strengths are getting down to meeting people where they're at and showing them a way out. And I think a great phrase that I've kind of been thinking through a little bit is, and this applies to most Americans, especially most Americans that are going to want to speak with us or interested in growth in their life, is you're richer than you think. You know, even if you feel like you're not, you're richer than you think.
Unpack that a little bit, man.
Well, I've yet to find a person that I can't, and just in all ways. I mean, just think about the way we live, man. Just think about all the blessings we have in America, all the abundance around us, all the possibilities of doing more. I just kind of coached a young man who, you know, I know through some friends of his parents and things, and he's 22 years old. And simple coaching, I said to him, I said, hey, I want you have, this was homework. We had lunch together. I said, by Friday, I want you to contact your boss, because he works remotely.
Okay.
I want you to say, hey, we did our evaluation a couple months ago, and he's still in an early part of his career where he's in like a, what you call it, like the first year where he can't get a raise. And why am I drawing a blank?
Probationary period kind of thing.
Like a probationary period.
Got you.
And I said, all I want you to ask him is, say, hey, I know it's coming up in July. What can I do to bring more value to your company so that when the time comes,
dude, yes,
to do more and to go bigger and to earn more and get promotions, I want to put myself in a place where that makes sense. Yeah. I said, nobody's ever asked your boss that.
Yeah.
You know, so you're richer than you think. You just have to find it. And on top of that, I've never met a human being that I can't find places on the financial side where they're bleeding money. I still have holes. I still find my own once in a while. I'm like, I did.
I get that call every quarter from two different people. They're like, Fergie, you ever gonna fix this? I'm like, I'm saying, so I feel you. How about, I just kind of admitted a weakness here, but how about you? What weaknesses do you think you're still working on?
Well, I think we've got a lot of weaknesses. I think one thing that I tend to do is I tend to dive into this a bit much, and sometimes a little too much into what I'm doing.
Overboard
And I'm all,
sometimes, yeah, I
yeah,
feel
and I
you.
always want to be
Yeah,
studying and everything. And it's like I got to set it down and get away and spend more times in those other areas of life. And I
gotcha.
think another weakness is I'm a shiny object guy. I think like a lot of us are. Like,
Yeah,
oh, this could be good, this could be good, this could be
yeah.
good, but I just need to turn it all off and zero in, right?
My mentor used to say, listen, this is back when checkbooks were still used. Now I'm 52 years old, so I'm dating myself here, but like he would be like, listen, you go to something, leave your checkbook in the car. And this is Michigan, right? So you live in PA, so it gets cold when a
Yeah,
lot of these things are. And if you really want something, well, you would chuck your butt out to your car and get that checkbook out and bring it back in. Because I'd be the
that's
same
good.
way. I'd be like, yeah, there you go. I'll buy that. Now, that's awesome that you appreciate that too, as well. And you made light of your weaknesses because that's the only way you can get through, bro. I feel
Yeah,
you.
and
I
we all
really,
have them. I mean,
oh,
if we're acting like we're all squared up on all sides, I mean, you're
dude,
fooling yourself
dude,
and you're not fooling anybody else.
I am such a broken man. Not only spiritually sometimes, but financially. I like makes like thank God I have my Susan, dude, because like she'll be like, do you really? So I'll be like, okay. But she's not like she won't say no. No, you can't. But like she's like, checks and balances. It's what this great country, no matter what we think, it's still an awesome country. It's the best that I've been around because I have been to those third world countries and stuff. But the checks and balances that we have in the country is kind of what got us to where, not exactly the best place now, but got us going. And that's great in relationships as well. And I appreciate that. So
Yeah,
have you
man,
seen the
it's all
movie
about the
Back to,
people. I'm
absolutely,
sorry. Yeah.
absolutely. No, no. So have you seen the movie Back to the Future?
Oh, I have.
All right,
Yep.
let's get in that DeLorean with Marty McFly. Let's go back to the double deuce, the 22-year-old Brian. What kind of knowledge nuggets might you drop on him? Not again, don't change anything because even the hurt with what you and Cora had to see and just all the challenges that you have, right? Like, what might you drop on him to maybe help him shorten a learning curve, blast through maybe just a little bit quicker?
Let me see. That's 21 years ago for me. I'm 43, so I would.
Damn, we look good.
I'll be 43. I'll be 43 next month anyway.
Okay.
But I think the one thing I would say is don't shrink yourself, dude. Like
Mm-hmm.
I've always had like a relative decent amount of it. It's a weird dichotomy, like some internal confidence,
Mm-hmm.
but I wouldn't always put it out there. I think fear. I don't know if it's a fear of a judgment or what it was, but that came later in life for me. So it was like, don't shrink yourself, man. Get out there, do your thing, right? And I think the
Love it.
other thing I would tell the same 22-year-old me is there is absolutely nothing in this world you can't do if you put your mind to it.
Yeah.
And I think I discovered that around I went to pilot training late. Everybody was 22 years old. I was 28.
Wow.
And
That's
so I
dude.
discovered that. I've been doing it for 15 years. So I discovered that somewhere in that neighborhood that
Yeah.
like I can do this because that just seemed like something somebody else did, somebody else smarter, somebody else better did. And then
Right.
one day I realized, like, well, why
I can do
can't
it.
I? I was too old. Like, man, I wish I would have known that
Yeah.
at 18.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
It's like, why not me?
right.
It's
Exactly.
amazing. So, how does Brian want his dash remembered? That little line in between your incarnation date and your expiration date, your life date and death date. Hopefully, it's way down the line, brother. But like, how does Brian want his dash remembered?
I always tell my kids life favors the bold. So I wonder if they do that dash in a bold font.
Dude, I will make sure it's bolded up for you, man.
All right. But
It's
yeah,
100%.
I'd
Yeah,
say and not only being bold for ourselves, but being sometimes you have to be bold for others. And that's another
yes,
thing with our clients is I've found out, and you as probably as a coach, sometimes you got to be bold for the person.
bro. Yeah,
And then yeah, so
yes,
so
yes.
boldness and I think impact. I want to know that I've had an impact and
Mm,
man, just love.
yeah, yeah. It's
Yeah.
yeah, I feel you. It's funny that you said I had a client this morning. I was like, wait a minute, dude. Again, I'm not a consultant. I'm not going to tell you what to do, right? I believe everybody knows what they want. They just don't know how to talk themselves into it, right? And I know that every challenge that resides there, there's the solutions right next to it. They just have to, because if they come up with it, they're probably going to see it through. If I say, hey, Brian, go do this, and it doesn't work, we're like, Fergie, you're an idiot. I'm saying it's like, but if you come up with it through my curiosity and question asking, then you're going to see it through. But man, I had to challenge this kid today because he's playing down at, was it Colonial? He's on the tour, and he was getting a little bit, yeah, just off. And I'm like, brother, you know this, but I challenged him, and I thought, man, hope I'm not too hard, but I have ESPN Plus on over here, and he's doing okay, so I'm good.
Nice. Oh, I love it. That's awesome.
I love it. So what do you think people maybe misunderstand the most about Brian?
I would actually, believe it or not, another possible weakness of mine is I am exceptionally blunt.
Okay.
And I think sometimes, and I've learned this and I've worked on it and I've been working on it, is being tactful with that. And I don't do it from a place of necessarily, it's
malicious.
Just the way things have always come out of me. There's never anything malicious, but I know sometimes I see the recoil in people, and it's just like, I'm actually, when I speak bluntly, it's out of love. Yeah. And I'm trying to find out, I'm trying to work on softening those edges.
You are like a little brother from another mother, man. I swear, dude. Because it's like, I have to watch myself. I'm 6'1" and 230. I'm pretty well put together. I'm a big dude, right? So I have to watch that. And I'll tell you right now, as a pilot, I love the bluntness. Because you got to be on point. It's a lot of your stuff is black and white. And then now you've got to make decisions of turbulence and stuff like that. But man, you got a checklist to go through. I remember I was telling you that S3, and it's just like the checklist going, man, it sounds like me with a MK55, like an explosive, right? Every checklist was like there with Bomb Squad. So no, I'm kind of happy that you are blunt, because it's going to help you get points across to a lot of people as well. Especially kind of the engineers that you're going to be working with that read every frickin' word in your contract and finances and stuff. That's great. That's great strength. So anything keep you up at night?
Not too much. Okay. No, not a whole. I mean, as far as the actual physical side of sleeping, I typically, people were always surprised. I remember at SEER training when we were out in the woods and it was March, it was cold and snowy. Yeah. And then every morning, like, we'd all line up and we're huddled to keep a little warm. They're like, how do you fall asleep in like 4 seconds? I don't know. I'm tired. So yeah, on the physical side, no, I'd say, but if you want to talk about just the abstract side of that question and the worry of it, one of the fears has always been looking at my children hungry. That drives me. That's me. So it doesn't keep me up at night, but it definitely compels me.
Yeah, it gets you after it too. Every freaking day, man. That's awesome. Yep. How about 3 things Brian can't live without? Oh, let's leave family, air, water, food out of it. Like, give me 3 things that, man, you're like, dude, I gotta have this. And it can be coffee, dude. I don't care. I'm good with that. Yeah, that would. There you go, right?
Here we go. Yep.
Cheers.
Oh, and I do love some coffee.
Mm-hmm. And it's almost 2 p.m. here, and I know it is there too. So I'll still drink it all day, bro.
I'm still drinking. This is like my 3rd one today. Yep. Yeah, I'd say coffee, books.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah, I just like to soak in knowledge. I've got too many unread books because I still have I still purchase them like I don't have 4 kids.
Yeah, dude, that's funny. You'll read those books when you're about 52, man. You know what I'm saying? You'll be caught up. You're like, Fergie, I got through stack 2. No, I feel you, man. I feel you.
Yeah, and you know what? Is as much I think the positive side of like the internet is just is being able to even have connections like this. This is awesome. We're 1,200 miles away and having a great conversation. I wouldn't want to give this up.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I'm so glad that we got connected and introduced, brother. So, how about, what is your definition of a life well lived?
I think a life well lived is one that just really impacts others, that changes trajectories for people's lives. If you can, and sometimes that's just a 1 degree difference, man. Thinking on the aviation side, if I can change my course or my heading by 1 degree, I can end up, it's the difference between New York and South Carolina. You know what I mean? From the West Coast. I don't know. I'm just guessing, but it's just like that 1 degree change in your life, that little impact you can have on somebody can take their life in a totally different direction. And
I love that you said
that's a life well lived, is knowing you've not even knowing, but you don't even have to know, having that impact on someone.
I love that you said that. It's so true. Just 1 little degree, man, is different. And when I coach, if I'm blessed to coach people here in South Florida, I put them in the driver's seat of their car. 1, I want to see how they keep their car, because I can see how their mind works with organization a lot of times. But then I tell them this little thing, this mirror up here, that's the rear view mirror. It's small for a reason. It's the past. It's a great place to visit and learn from. But that's it. If you have problems there, I'm going to send you to my therapist, right? And then this big windshield, is the future. Oh my gosh, it's scary, right? Where are we going to go? But since 2011, they've been putting these things in there called GPSs, and that's me. I'm going to help you dial in, make those micro adjustments or sometimes major adjustments. I can't buckle your seatbelt if you so choose to, start the car, put it in gear, but I can be there as that. And that those adjustments that you said about the trajectory of life just hit home with me right there, man. Brian, appreciate that, brother.
Yeah, man. And I mean, I think I'm thinking about that, the conversation, like you have to set the destination. What is it you want?
Exactly.
And you know what? There's going to be detours. I'm going to be the GPS that helps you work those.
Right.
To get to that destination, man. That's awesome.
If you were flying down to hang out with your boy Jensen and meet Mia and stuff like that, and your flight got, delayed, would you just say, I'm turning around going home? No, dude, you're going to adjust. Winners adjust. Mediocre people make excuses. It's just Pat Summitt, the great basketball coach, said that. She said it a lot more harsh because she was harsh. She's like, winners make adjustments, losers make excuses. But I love that you're no excuse. And being a pilot, bro, you can't make excuses at all. You make adjustments and you make them on the fly. I have mad respect for you guys, man. It's mad respect. And the funny thing is I did a deployment in the bomb squad on the USS Kitty Hawk, big aircraft carrier, CV-63. And then you're thinking all these like you look great for a pilot, man. Handsome dude, guys. If you're gals, if you're watching on Vimeo or YouTube, the dude is pretty well put together, handsome dude. Like a lot of these Top Gun pilots, they're gray by the time they're 28. And then I found out they're pulling all those G's. They don't look like Tom Cruise and Val Kilmer a lot of time. No offense, pilots. But you guys put yourself through a lot of stuff and have to do things on the fly, Brian. That's just, to me, that's mad skills, bro. So thank you again. Thank you again.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Time to Shine Today podcast, Varsity Squad. We are back. And Brian, when you head south there, I'm definitely going to hook up with you. And we're going to grab at least a coffee. I got really good places down here, brother. And we'll talk some of these questions, 15, 20 minutes. But today, you got to put on that quick thinking pilot stuff here. Like, what is it? Goose said, got to do the pilot shit math. You got to do this here. But you got 5 seconds. And they can all be answered that way, I promise you, Brian. You ready to level up?
Let's do it.
Here we go. Brian, what is the best leveling up advice you've ever received?
Go for it.
Yeah. Share one of your personal habits that contributes to your success.
Early rise workout.
Love it. So you see me kind of walk down the street, or maybe we're at an event or whatever. Man, Fergie looks like he's in his doldrums. What book might you hand me to level me up?
Give you one of two. It'd either be The Go-Giver or The Compound Effect.
Oh, yeah. Compound Effect's legit, too. There's a shout out to you, Bobby. Love it, man. So your most commonly used emoji when you text?
Just the laughing.
Love it. Nicknames growing up? No, what's your call sign?
You know what? We don't have a call sign in the heavy community.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Nicknames then?
Oh man, you got the last name Moody. I could write you a book on that.
Which one
none
stands
none
out?
that have ever really stuck though.
Okay.
Nothing's ever stuck.
Gotcha.
Moodus Maximus, Moodus, Moodi, you name it.
Love it, dude. I love it. So, any talent and or superpower that you have that no one really knows about until now?
Yeah, dude. In 5th grade at my elementary school, I won the thumb wrestling competition for the grade, and I haven't lost since, man. So
That's
you're
awesome.
on. When I come down, you're
Dude,
on.
It's on. I love it. Chess, checkers, or Monopoly?
Monopoly.
Right. Headline for your life.
Abundantly blessed, but always seeking.
Love it. That's bad. That's amazing. Go to ice cream flavor.
Say that again.
Go to ice cream flavor.
Vanilla.
All right, me too, actually. There's a sandwich called the Moodus Maximus. Build that sandwich for me, man. What's on the sandwich?
Maximus. Man, the bread's not even important, but it's gonna just have good grass-fed beef.
Yeah.
I'm gonna stuff some jalapenos in that.
Oh, there you go.
I'm gonna cover it in peanut butter.
No, really?
Have you ever had peanut butter on a burger? I love it.
Yeah, it's not bad, bro. It's not
I love
bad.
it. Yeah.
Actually, I had it in Pittsburgh at Brothers. They had one there that was like that, dude. Yes, they had
awesome.
one. Yeah. I competed in a bodybuilding show. I was nationally ranked, blah, 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 back then. When you go to Pittsburgh and then we went to the warehouse or the flats, warehouse, something where Primanti's was, and they actually had it with peanut butter on it. And I had been dieting for about 18 weeks to get in peak shape. And that's awesome you said that, man.
Give me the fattest thing you can give me.
That's right, baby. So any favorite charity and or organizations you'd like to give your time or money to?
You know what? It's very small. It's called Children of Hope through a small church in Mississippi, and that helps a school in the Dominican Republic that I've done some mission trips.
Okay.
To help with. So
Johnny, put that in the show notes. You said the Dominican?
yeah, it's in the Dominican Republic,
So
but
it's
it's
Dominican.
through that's where the charity helps. It's called Children of Hope. I can
Gotcha.
send you a link to the
Yeah, that'd be great. We'll throw it in the show
website. Yeah.
notes. Last question, Brian, and you can elaborate on this one a little bit more, but what is the best decade of music? 60s, 70s, 80s, or 90s?
So I was born in 1981. You're going to be surprised. The 60s.
Hmm. What's your jam back then? Like, who did you really like to listen to? Who might you throw on while you're getting work done?
I think it'd probably be something on the Motown side of things, or
Oh, man, dude,
yeah,
I love it.
maybe
Actually,
Sam
like,
Cooke.
okay, yeah,
Yeah,
like being from Detroit, like how that's home for me,
yeah,
and yeah, like they have a lot of like the real people that were in the Four Tops or the Temptations that live here. And they will freaking perform on a Thursday night at happy hour at a random restaurant. And
are
they're
they
like,
still great?
yes. They're
That's
like,
awesome.
that's like Larry Brown's there. I'm like, that's Larry Brown. It's like,
Yeah,
what? It's him. It's amazing. When you come down here, it's like kind of a hotbed for people to reach out. I live where people reach. I live in heaven's waiting room. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
We expectantly say, right? So, but it's awesome. So, Brian, how can we find you, brother?
You can find me at remnantfinance.com, and I think I sent you all the social
Yeah,
media channels because they're all a little bit different, but that'll
it'll
be
all
the
be in the
easiest
show
place to
notes.
find
Yeah.
me. Remnant, REMNANT, finance.com.
That is like definitely not perennial, so that is awesome for you, brother.
Yeah.
It's a little between us joke squad. Don't even worry about that part. But no, it's been a pleasure interviewing you, man. And like you do have a podcast that's going to be dropping in the next couple months here called Remnant Finance as well, right?
Yeah, we've recorded about 7 or 8 episodes so far, so we're building our
Nice.
launch strategy out, and hopefully next month, and which is June, based on when we're recording this.
Beautiful, beautiful. You got a book dropping ever?
It's in the works.
Okay. I mean,
Yeah.
both are, you have to. Like you just have that. Also, and also watch out for Brian on the stage too, as well, squad. He's gonna be setting up some speaking events. You're definitely gonna want to get him out there. Again, the Remnant is a small part of a squad that's actually out there getting after it, that you can trust, a brotherhood or a sisterhood. That's what I consider Brian a part of my Remnant squad here now. And Brian, do me a solid, please, and leave us with one last knowledge nugget we can take with us, internalize, and take action on.
I'm going to give you one in my world, and it's that you finance everything you buy. And to think about this. So you either pay interest to somebody outside in the world, or you give up the opportunity to earn that interest. So just think about how that works and how that can impact your life.
Wow.
Knowing that.
Yes, that's amazing. And it's crazy. I'm not saying Jewish people are like cheap or anything by saying this, but I was raised by Jewish people. The Jews, I always say affectionately, back in Detroit, because it's the second biggest Jew population, and they taught me about money because I lived that rich dad, poor dad. I love my dad; he's my best friend, but he worked on the line at General Motors, never really had anything. But what you said is you finance everything you buy, just really hit home. You either pay somebody else the interest, or why don't you just buy something that's going to make interest for yourself and make your life a little easier? You know what I'm saying? It's amazing. Yeah. And squad, I got 3 pages of notes. I don't know about you out there, but like he started this off with not an awesome story, actually kind of a heartstring story with taking Cora and the seeing the gentleman light up and really shook the world and changed the perspective for my good friend Brian. He's out there planting trees he's never going to sit in the shade of. That is his dream, is to do that generational legacy with a hell of a lot less trauma. The IBC, the infinite banking concept, through that, he's going to leave that and other aspects of Remnant is going to leave a legacy of love and wealth. I mean, he's doing what the name of my book that's coming out, The Harmonic Hustle. That's what he's doing with his faith, family, finance, fitness, and friendship. And again, like he's drawing up the Moody Constitution to get out there, and it's going to last for generations because it's going to rock. And I'm so happy to be aligned with someone like Brian that wants you to have that moat around your castle, somebody that protection while you're still growing vertically, but have that moat that there is to protect you. You want you to keep more of what you earn so you can earn on top of that and on top of that and keep compounding. Meet people where they are. And if you have the capability, show them the way to safety, show them the way to abundance, show them the way out. Always remember, you are richer than what you think. That's something that really hit home that Brian had said. He also said that life favors the bold. Be bold for yourself,
Be selfishly bold so you can go out there and help others be bold for themselves. And lastly, you finance everything you buy. Either you pay interest to someone or you give up the opportunity and give up the opportunity to earn, or you can earn and invest, which again, I've did multiple podcasts on buying real estate and how I did it and left nothing out, did not sell it for a dime. Then that's my vehicle. And it's done. I mean, I have a little money in the market, blah, 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 but real estate was my vehicle and I really lean into it. And if you're looking for a vehicle, someone that's going to listen, that's going to be empathetic, but also is going to push you, then let me introduce you to my good friend, Brian. He levels up his health. He levels up his wealth. He's a handsome devil. He's out there just getting it done, loving on people. He's earned his varsity squad letter here at Time to Shine today. Brian, thank you so much for coming on, man. I absolutely love your guts.
Yeah, thank you for having me. It's been awesome.
Chat soon.
Hey, thanks so much for listening to this episode of Time to Shine Today podcast. Proudly brought to you by Sutter & Nugent Real Estate Excellence, who can be reached at 561-249-7266 and online at www.sutterandnugent.com. If you are a business owner or professional who would like to be interviewed on Time to Shine Today, please visit timetoshinetoday.com/guest. If you like this episode, please subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, iHeartRadio, or wherever you get your podcasts. There's a link in the show notes to our website. Also there, you will see our recommended resources. We hope that you will support our show by supporting them. If you like what you've been listening to, it'd be great if you could just give us a 5-star rating and tell your friends how to subscribe while you're at it. I'm your host, Scott Ferguson, and until next time, let's level up. It's our time to shine.